Tudo bem, meus podcasters que estão aqui nos assistindo, nos ouvindo hoje? Sejam muito bem-vindos a este canal. Então, para quem é novo por aqui, eu sou Sabrina Dalbó, apresentadora do nosso podcast SDBEI e também CEO do Instituto de Inglês Online Sabrina Dalbó. Então, para quem está procurando aí aulas de inglês personalizadas, de acordo com o seu perfil, de acordo com a sua necessidade, você está sim no lugar correto. E aqui, a nossa intenção desse pod é sempre trazer conteúdo relacionado ao inglês de uma forma leve, de uma forma descontraída, coisas que provavelmente você não veria na sala de aula, então isso é um complemento para os seus estudos. Vou deixar aqui nos comentários, nas legendas, todos os nossos contatos. Agende a sua aula experimental, se você quiser conhecer um pouquinho mais do nosso trabalho. E, claro, vamos ao nosso entrevistado de hoje. Então, eu queria também agradecer aos nossos patrocinadores, desde já o meu muito obrigado ao Guilherme e a Tati do Azul Cargo, Márcia do Max Protein Club e Dona Belly, que são os patrocinadores que mantêm esse pod no ar. Muito obrigado desde já. E como vocês sabem, né, eu tenho postado ao longo desse mês, fiz alguns stories, fiz alguns videozinhos. Nós também oferecemos esse trabalho de interpretação e tradução no Instituto e nós fomos contratados para esse trabalho de interpretação dentro de uma empresa multinacional aqui da região, onde eles estão montando uma linha nova de produção e os estrangeiros estão praticamente full time aqui, fazendo com que esse projeto aconteça, saia do papel, e eu estou acompanhando basicamente americanos e britânicos, mas um americano muito especial, muito querido, topou, né, ali o desafio de vir gravar o pod comigo. Então eu vou ler um pouquinho a biografia dele, porque eu queria realmente trazer essa vivência, essa experiência para os alunos de treinar o listening skills. Então aqui vocês vão ter um nativo falando comigo hoje. Então, claro que vou deixar a legenda também sobre tudo que ele vai comentar, mas é um excelente treino. Então, para aqueles que às vezes me pedem, né, Sá, quando que você vai fazer podcasts 100% em inglês? Então essa é a oportunidade de você treinar o seu listening. Então eu vou ler um pouquinho aqui da a biografia do Dylan, que é o meu convidado de hoje. Então, vou ler em português a biografia do Dylan, mas também posso deixar aqui depois a biografia dele em inglês, para quem quiser treinar o reading skills. Então, hoje estou com o Dylan Morabito, né? Eu falei para ele, você prefere que eu fale o seu nome de uma forma mais italiana ou mais americana? Ele falou, não, pode falar italiano sim. Então, estou aqui falando o nome dele em italiano. Ele é graduado pelo Wentworth Institute of Technology em 2016, com o diploma de técnico em engenharia mecânica. Então, o Dylan é engenheiro mecânico. E ele trabalhou em uma oficina de fabricação de chapas metálicas por 2 anos e também projetando equipamentos de energia para paisagismo e municípios da cidade. Então, agora ele trabalha na SDS, Southern Design Services, como empreiteiro de engenharia mecânica, e ele está nessa empresa há 7 anos. Ele mora em Spartanburg, que fica na Carolina do Sul, South Carolina, e ele adora pets, ele tem 2 pets, o cãozinho dele se chama Scott. Então, para quem não sabe, em português, Scott significa escoteiro, então esse é o nome que ele escolheu para o cachorrinho dele. E ele tem um gatinho que se chama Pickles, que em português é Pickles, né? Pra quem não sabe. Então, o Dylan adora fazer caminhadas, ele adora jogar videogame. E ele tem, assim, muitas experiências incríveis com o irmão. Então, eles adoram, nos Estados Unidos, sair pra hiking e conhecer lugares diferentes. E ele já está trabalhando nesse projeto, na parte da instalação dessa máquina, já em alguns países diferentes. Então, ele já esteve na Inglaterra, na França, na Austrália e agora, pela primeira vez, no Brasil. So, Dylan, welcome to our podcast.
Good morning. Bom dia.
Bom dia! So, I'm trying to teach him some Portuguese words. Bom dia was one of them. What else?
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem, great job.
Tchau.
Tchau. Obrigado.
Obrigado. Assim.
Aqui.
Aqui. Close.
Because
Close.
all the time Dylan needs to point someone out to someone else and he needs, I need this equipment installed here. So I taught him how to say aqui. Então, às vezes, quando ele precisa, né, mostrar alguma coisa para os operadores, eu preciso que algo seja instalado aqui. So, aqui was one of the words that...
Yes, that is one of the most important words most of the time.
Most of the time. So, he uses aqui all the time. Very good. And yesterday, could we learn any other expression in Portuguese?
You've taught me a lot. There was a couple.
Welcome. Do you remember how to say welcome in Portuguese that I taught you yesterday?
Did it start with a D?
Yeah.
Is it
De nada.
de nada?
Yes, great job.
I'm thinking, when somebody says thank you, you say it's de nada.
De nada. Yes. So, I like survival Portuguese, right? Just to... and at the gas station.
Donka cheio etanol.
Great job. So he could get his car filled up with these 3 words in Portuguese. Tanque cheio etanol. Very good. So, Dylan, tell us, what are your first impressions of Brazil? Because I know it's your first time here. So, have you been enjoying the experience? So, what have you been enjoying at the most?
I've definitely enjoyed Brazil a lot, more than I had imagined. So,
really? Good.
The people are very warm and friendly. Even a lot of the contractors, sometimes in my industry, people are very, they act tough and they're gritty and hitting things with hammers. But everybody I've worked with has been very, very kind, very knowledgeable. They did a great job working on the machine before we got here. Working with you has been more than a pleasure. You've been a lifesaver here.
My pleasure. Que lindo. Ele falou que trabalhar comigo tem salvado a vida dele. Gente, não é lindo?
Getting to experience June Fest last night, that was amazing.
Levei ele ontem numa festa junina, então pensa trazer os americanos para comer curau, canjica, pé de moleque, quentão.
Yeah.
Então, festa junina, it's as I told you yesterday, but it's our traditional fast, like in this period, in this time of the year. So we call it Festa Junina. It's like June's festival. But you can listen to traditional music and try different flavors of food. So yesterday he had his first pastel. So pastel was another Portuguese word that you learned.
With the cheese.
With cheese, yes. Pastel de queijo. My intention is to take him also to drink our cana de açúcar, né? Que é a nossa guarapa, né? It's like a drink that you can drink with sugar cane. It's made with sugar cane and it's delicious as well. Like very cold with lemon or pineapple.
I would like the lemon. Pineapple.
The lemon, yeah. Okay, the lemon one we should try. And you told me that something that you really loved was the...
The food. The food. I don't know why you need to help me remember that one. The food here has been amazing.
Okay. What's your favorite up to now?
I like the rice and beans with everything, but
Feijoada?
Feijoada. I knew it started with an F. Feijoada.
Feijoada was your favorite. And what about the dessert? Which one have you?
Dulce
de leche.
Dulce de leche.
So this is very common. So when Americans, they come to Brazil, they really enjoy feijoada. Cerveja.
Cerveja. Was that the corn one?
No, cerveja, beer.
Cerveja. Every time I pronounce it, I think I say cervezas.
It's like Spanish. Yeah, but with the sound is like a J, like cerveja.
Cerveja.
Great job. So he tried original. Então ele deu uma original. Ele adorou. And what about the places? Is there any place that you said like, oh, I really like this place. It's a place where I would bring like my family. I would come to visit another time.
What's the train station restaurant?
Ah, Botequim da estação, fazendo merchan de graça aqui pro Botequim.
Yeah.
Eles tiveram a chance de também, os britânicos, né? Eles vieram para cá e conheceram a Maria Fumaça, que é bem tradicional aqui da nossa cidade. Então tem o trem que ainda é feito. I forgot the name, how to say in English, the train with wood.
Steam locomotive.
Yeah, so this is our typical train here in the city. So Dylan, can you tell us a little bit about how it is to work traveling to different countries? And I know that you are having such a good experience here in Brazil, but how is it for you to have this experience in other countries? So the four ones that you have already visited, how are they for you?
Well, in America, I know everybody I work with. You have a relationship, so it's easier to tell people what to do, not be so bossy. So my biggest thing when I go places is, I'm here to help, instruct. I don't want to come in and say, you must put this here and this has to be like this. You have to gauge everybody's skills as well. So you can see what tasks you can kind of have them start working on, and yep, they've got that covered. I don't have to worry about it. Or like, maybe I should hang around, stay close, and help them out some. The language barrier here and in France.
I would ask you that because the other countries, at least they could speak English, but like in Brazil and in France, you have this language problem, right?
Yeah.
So how was it for you to deal with it? So basically, could you use only the cell phone to translate?
Yeah, well, so here I've been lucky to have your help, but in France, I got there, they're like, all right, here's the machine, here's where you're building the machine, and here's the guys you're working with. Let us know if you need anything. And then they left. And I was like, okay, well.
So you were by your own, like no support from the local team?
Not really. They, the English speakers in France, they were busy in meetings and just had other stuff. And they didn't arrange a translator. So it was a lot of the cell phone. And then I tried to learn some words. Here in French is ici. So, there was a lot of pointing. This is C. This line right here is C.
Body gesture, like
yeah.
Cut here.
Yeah, and sometimes I would Google Translate something. They would start working, and I was like, oh, that translation must not have been good. They're not.
So
doing
you
that.
You have faced the experience of translating something, but it was wrong.
Yeah, or they didn't fully understand. And you sit there and they're getting impatient sometimes, right? At least in France they would. Here they're very patient, even, if you're not around, which you always are. So they'll just start doing stuff and they're like, no, hold on. Just take it slow. We'll do it the right way the first time. But for the most part, it worked out okay. And you start building a relationship with them. They start understanding a little bit. I would say something in French and they would say it back, and then I would say the English word and they say okay, and then they slowly would start remembering. Just like, good job, the thumbs up is a good one, but they know like, okay, now we're good, we can move on to the next task.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And have you learned how to be more resilient, maybe adaptable, and also very flexible, I suppose, because you are all the time dealing with different cultures and different people, different way to react. Have you learned this skill?
Yeah, I would say, when I'm in my shop again with my guys, there's a certain way we talk to each other, and if somebody on the street were to walk in, they would probably think, oh my God, these guys hate each other. They're yelling and this and that. But, obviously you can't do that when you go to a new place. But trying to think.
I guess you have learned how to be more flexible, because here you are very patient and you are always very collaborative, I see, with the guys, and based on the fact that they cannot even speak a word in English, and you can communicate. So I see you all the time doing your best to get the information across and all the messages that you have to deliver.
Yeah.
And you make yourself understanding, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a very visual person. So a lot of times we'll be on one end of the machine. Somebody will ask me a question that relates to a different part. And I'm just like, all right, hold on, slow down, follow me. This right here, this is what we're talking about. It's going to look like this, but over there. You know, I think seeing things helps a lot.
It's true.
And sometimes trying to say the technical word for something, you know,
like universal language, like technical stuff, they usually have the same idea or similar words, so it's easier to understand.
Like the nip rollers or the idler rolls. Trying to think if there was any other ones
like
that we've come across.
Connectors,
pipe fittings, stuff like that. Yeah, once you show them, they're like, that's what you're looking for. Sometimes even just pulling up a picture on Google. So it's
way easier to show, like, this is what I need. This is what I want.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, in England and Australia, I can kind of stay at the same speed that they're staying. But France and here, I try to say, okay, let's slow down for 1 minute, really get the point across, and then everything is just going to go quicker. We won't be sitting here confused, trying to translate or, you know, figure things out for 10 minutes. Instead, we'll just get it going.
Amazing. And what are Brazilians people different from Americans? So thinking about the culture shock, how have you faced the differences? Let's say that.
Well, I've noticed, you know, the Brazilian people are a lot warmer and they're very welcoming. Oh, you've wanted me to try a bunch of things, but so is everybody else when we're in the office. Oh, has he tried this yet? Has he tried this food? You should go here, go look at this. A lot of other places, it's, oh yeah, there's the contractor from America. I'm sure he'll figure food out, and find some places, you know, or you have to almost pull the information out of them. They just leave you on your own. So here has been very warm experience. I haven't been worried about anything. And the food's been so good. It's been so good.
And something that I was talking to Dylan before we start the interview was yesterday we went to a party together, and people were talking to him, touching him all the time. So I said, oh my gosh, I should tell them that they do not need to touch him to talk to him. But he told me that he doesn't mind, that it's okay. So he got the feeling like how Brazilians are. But I know that it's also something that Americans don't do usually.
No, not typically. We, I mean, for example, I have one coworker and he'll get very close to you every time, and I'm always moving further away. I'm like, Randy, don't get close to me. But I think, you know, being somewhere different, you kind of open up to the culture a little bit. And, you know, obviously we don't want to be disrespectful, and it really doesn't bother me at all, you know, the touching and the feeling and all that. But
and what about kissing? Like when you are greeting someone?
That's not normal in America. Well, I shouldn't say normal. It's just, that's not common. I think, you know, maybe in a lot of Italian households, that's a very normal thing. We never did it growing up, but I think maybe my grandfather on my dad's side, and maybe my mom's mom, or my mom's grandma's mom, my great grandmother on my mom's side, like they probably did that.
I see.
For
because
greetings.
I don't know if you noticed yesterday, but they were a lot of also men, right? They are used to kissing each other, hugging each other. Like there's no difference for us, you know. So this is like regular in our daily basis. People touching each other, kissing, hugging, and sometimes for foreigners, I know that it's a little bit, you know, too much.
Yeah.
Invasive.
Yeah. Well, it's who was it? One of your not neighbors, but
Mm-hmm.
his mom when she came to visit. Yeah, she's like,
Yes.
"Oh, hug," and then she was doing the kissing, and I was like, I don't know.
But I think you have noticed before, and you really knew how to act. So
Yeah.
it was okay for you to kiss her and no problems at all.
Hmm.
And I could realize as well that you and Daniel, and I think you and Daniel, you were more like into touching, and I couldn't see any problem of you because I had already had this experience before that the person was really,
Really?
yeah, hesitating and reluctant to come closer. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And this is the
Yeah.
way I am. It's hard sometimes to, let me keep myself with my arms and my hands, close
Yeah.
to my body.
Yeah. Yeah. And, America, there's so many people there as well, and they all have different backgrounds. So the people up north are different from the people down south, and they're different from the people on the West Coast and East Coast. So it can be hard to sometimes even tell how is this American going to act, or what are their experiences.
Even in between you guys. So
Mhm.
this is interesting. I think it's the same as Brazil. It's a big country.
Yeah.
And we have different kind of culture everywhere. But good to know that this experience here for you is not traumatic. Like,
No, I'm not going to be, rushing to the airport like, thank God, get me home.
And how long have you been here?
What is it, 3 weeks now?
3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So in total, it's going to be kind of a month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Normally, if the schedule had worked out better, I would have been here for 2 months.
Oh, really? So
Mhm.
the other countries, you have this experience of being there for more than a month.
Yeah, typically because the trip is so long, the project goes for so long, me being the mechanical guy, I get there first. The machine is still in boxes, like crates, in the containers. So I help the contractors pull it out, organize it, start uncrating, and, we go from there. And then after the machine is laid out, I would do some alignment. When they start getting ready to pull wires, one of our electricians would come. He works with the electricians. They do their thing. I finish up mechanical stuff. And then I would go back to America for maybe a week or two. And then me and my programmer, Daniel, we would fly back for another month. And we would do some finishing up stuff. And then the testing, making sure the machine runs how it did when we built it in America and all that. So
A lot of trips during the year. So how many do you usually have to?
I think last year I was away from home for at least 6 months.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Long journey.
Yeah, because
Trying
there was
different food and, and meeting different people.
I would say though the food is my favorite here.
Ok, good to know.
Yeah.
Ele adora a nossa comida de todos, tá vendo? A nossa é a favorita, predileta. So let's work. I know that's something that it's part of your daily routine when you are traveling, mainly when you are in charge of the projects. Meetings, business meetings. And I know we have a lot of students here interested in learning stuff from business environment, and mainly when we have like video conferences or calls and
Teams
meetings with people from all over the world. So could you help us please with some terms that you always use, like that you always see when you are in a business meeting from Teams or from any other tool, and also face-to-face, because here we have face-to-face meetings with the guys. So let's concern about the ones that we cannot see the person. That's horrible, right?
Yeah.
So when we are online and some problems happen and you cannot see the person, what do you usually listen in those situations?
So normally when the other person doesn't have their camera turned on, which is pretty common, I would say, in America. I don't think we have the camera on.
Also in Brazil, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. If you ask them a question and you're waiting, sometimes they may be muted and you can't see the little icon, or they might be too far away from their mic. So you're sitting there and you're like, hey, are you there? Is your microphone, mic, is it plugged in? If they are talking and it's jumbly and sounds kind of crispy, you might say, yeah, you're breaking up. Can you check your internet or your Wi-Fi connection? It might be dropping out. Or if there is a video of them and it starts getting fuzzy, if it starts getting fuzzy, normally the audio will get jumbled up too, or
so
hard to hear.
There's a kind of lag.
Yeah, like a lag in their feed. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, and so you would tell them, hey, you got a lot of lag. Maybe find a better spot for your internet,
or maybe reconnect, like drop off and try
dropping out and reconnecting to the meeting. So
basically those words. So importante para você que passa por essas situações em português, né? Essas questões que ele mencionou do vídeo ter ali um delay entre a voz e a imagem, ou se a sua internet não tá muito boa e o áudio fica cortando, né? Que foi o que ele mencionou, breaking up. Então é bom você ter essas palavrinhas em inglês aí já anotadas para a sua próxima reunião e você conseguir colocá-las em prática. Bom, então como eu mencionei ali na bio do Dylan, ele é engenheiro mecânico e eu pedi para ele trazer algumas ferramentas que ele usa no dia a dia do trabalho dele para mostrá-las aqui e dizer pra gente como que a gente pronuncia o nome dessas ferramentas em inglês. Então eu não sou uma expert em ferramentas, mas eu tenho aqui o meu ajudante Diego, que ele vai me ajudar com o nome delas em português. E o Dylan vai explicar pra gente como se pronuncia de forma correta o nome das ferramentas em inglês. Let's go for the tools that you brought for us here. So let's see them.
All right, so
you can bring them to your table and show and explain.
So I'll bring them.
I'm excited.
You've got a lot of tools.
A lot of tools.
Last few weeks.
Esse é o vocabulário que eu tive que aprender, galera, tá? Para trabalhar lá com eles na fábrica esse mês.
So normally when when I'm in America, I have a lot of tools. Big box, almost everything I need to get the job done. Sometimes it's hard to tell when I travel what I need to bring, what I can leave behind.
And what is allowed to bring? Do you have this concern or no? No. Because of the customs or?
Well, normally I'll pack a lot of stuff in my suitcase, so it just goes through. I wasn't too worried here because I had gotten the work visa. So if they said anything, hey, I've got this visa, I'm here for work, I need tools. But a lot of times too, I'll get somewhere and I say, oh, I forgot this, or it would help if I had a different tool. And I've noticed in America, there's huge stores for tools everywhere. They call them Home Depot or Lowe's or specialty stores. And there's a Home Depot and a Lowe's every 10 miles, maybe like 20 kilometers in comparison. And they're big stores. So other countries, I'll say, hey, I need some extra tools. And I was like, well, there's...
Sometimes you need to show the picture, like...
Yeah, I'll have to show a picture. I'm like, this is what I really need. And, I don't know where you're going to get that here. And they'll point me to a store, and it's this little tiny store. And they won't have anything. So I'll have to learn to adapt other ways. But, so here, what I brought, kind of one of the key things that I do when I go to these trips is a lot of alignment. Making sure that the machine is exactly how it needs to be so the product flows through properly and doesn't go the wrong way. Everything just works smoothly. So on our machine, there's a lot of rollers, and the plastic film goes over the rollers, and it needs to go straight. So what I do, I didn't bring my levels. I wish I did. But I have a couple precision levels that you check the rolls, make sure that it's sitting the proper way. Once it's level, I would take this, a pie tape.
Olha, nossa famosa trena.
Normally, I like the
how
metric
do you say
ones.
it? Please repeat it.
A pie tape.
A pie tape. Olha que legal, nossa trena.
And to the best of my knowledge, they call it a pie tape because it can be round like a pie.
Good explanation. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That it's called because...
Yeah. There's some other names for them, but I don't know them. So with this, I'll wrap it around one roll and another roll, and you'll measure. You just pick a point, you get the measurement. So I'll do it on one end of the roll and then the other end of the roll. And there's two of them. And you make sure that they're parallel. So if it was sitting like this, I got a small measurement here and a large measurement on that end. So I got to move some stuff, and you bring them in so they're perfect. Yeah. And then everything will flow good.
Olha, uma trena. Essa eu sabia, tá, galera? Então, acho que é uma das poucas que eu sabia.
This is one of my plumb bobs. It's a little messy, but...
What is the name again?
Plumb bob.
Plumb bob.
Like Bob the Builder. Plumb bob. So you can use these for many things, but essentially you mark a center point on the machine. On one end, you know, if this was my machine, I would mark a center point here and here. You put the string on that, and you'll lower it to the ground where you have a chalk line. And so you'll drop this, you let it stop moving. You'll say, oh, yeah, the machine's sitting, too much to the left or too much to the right.
Okay.
And you move it over on both sides.
É bem nível mesmo, né? Bem pra... prumo, Mas é pra verificar nível, né? Então, mas em português a gente diria prumo, né? É uma palavra prumo em português, yes. I have no idea why. Is it magnetic?
So this one I have, the base here is magnetic. Sometimes it's just a string, a lot of string, and you hold it. But this one, it's kind of nice because it retracts and it's magnetic, so I can stick it somewhere. Okay. And then you pull it.
It's made by iron.
Yeah, you pull it kind of as far as you want, and it'll stay.
Okay.
So that makes it a little easier.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then I brought these Allen wrenches.
Igual, que bom, chave Allen. Adorei. I love that because the same as Portuguese.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So in a lot of other countries, they don't call these wrenches Allen wrenches. They call them Allen keys.
So here in Brazil, we use the word key.
So is it an Allen key?
Allen key.
Yeah, so Brazil or France, Australia and England, they all call it Allen keys. I didn't bring any wrenches, but in other countries they call them spanners.
Que seria no sentido assim de você uma rosca, né? Então, um spanner seria de desrosquear nesse sentido. Legal, very interesting.
This is, I guess you could call this a tool, but for some of the work, because I have to do precision alignment. This is a precision ground block, so it's called a 1, 2, 3 block because it's 1 inch thick here, 2 inches, and then 3 inches.
Então, lembre-se que ele está falando em polegadas, porque é o sistema de nivelamento que eles usam nos Estados Unidos. Então, aqui a gente talvez usaria milímetros, centímetros, né? Ou até mesmo segue polegadas. Eu já vi vários lugares que... o sistema métrico, a gente usa os metros, né? Centímetros e milímetros. Lá eles usam polegadas, pés, etc. Mas seria um bloco de precisão mesmo, como ele trabalha com precisão. Tem que ser muito assertiva a precisão das coisas que ele está medindo, que ele está instalando. Então, seria um bloco de precisão de medidas, right? So, you measure according to those holes.
Well, the holes aren't that important. They're... Honestly, I don't know why they put the holes in them. I just know if I put the block here, and if this was a perfectly flat surface from here to here would be 3 inches.
Oh, cool.
3.000.
Interesting.
And the reason I have this block, I have to measure the distance between 2 rails on our machine. And I have these inside mics. Well, it's just this piece. You take this rod, and you put it in here. Try to, at least. And each one of these rods is a different measurement, different length, and it'll allow you to measure between one measurement and another. So this one is 6.5 inches to 7.5 inches. And where you get that inch difference is here in this dial. So for what I was doing, I put this on my rail, and none of these were long enough to reach just from this point to the rail. So I used this because this is a precision number. And then I was able to put that, the base of this tool here. And then you hold here and you twist. And as you do that, this gets higher by very, very small increments. So I could do that until it touches. I say, okay. You look and you measure. You get the number. Then I go to the other end. I do the same thing there.
So you know the length of between one part to the other.
Yeah, for this one, I'm kind of measuring a gap.
A gap, okay.
Then the gap has to be the same size. So if I got a high number here and a low, I had to twist it down, get it lower. Then I know, okay, I need to raise that side or lower this one. So.
Então seria uma coisa assim mais para medir profundidade, né, e extremidades do que ele está trabalhando. Então, as partes internas você vai desrosqueando e vai vendo se precisa ficar maior, menor. E aí ele usa o tubo como uma maneira dele, ele é muito preciso, né? Então ele vai girando e vai vendo certinho qual que é a profundidade em milímetros, né? Então é algo bem importante pro trabalho dele.
Yeah. And the other use for these is if you had a shaft or a roller and you needed to measure the inside diameter, you would use this.
Okay.
So you'd have a
Para
circle.
medir também o diâmetro interno, né? No caso dele, dos rolos que ele precisa trabalhar. Very good. Great job. So for the mechanical engineers that we have here listening to us, now they know how to say all of them in English.
Perfect.
So Dylan, I know that you have been doing a great job here with the Brazilians, but in case we get the opposite, Brazilians going to American. So what kind of tips could you give us about how dealing with American people and, something they must be aware before they travel? Because I know a lot of people, they don't search about the place that they are traveling
I don't know
to.
anybody that wouldn't search.
But what is your advice for people who are traveling to America to work or even for tourism?
Well, I'd say America can be very fast-paced at times, especially for work. Traveling all these places, I'm not used to all the breaks and hearing about, the amount of vacations and stuff like that.
Good to know that in America, there is no long break.
It's tougher. It's doable, but it's tougher sometimes. Yeah, and kind of like I said earlier, it depends where you're going in America. Like if you're going to New York City, people are very, they're doing their own thing. They don't really want to talk or sit down and chat, and they're rushing, always everywhere. Down south, where me and Daniel live, it's a little bit slower. If you were walking and needed to find something, you could ask anybody, and they would definitely
Support
help you.
you.
Yeah.
Good to know.
trying to think of what else. Like ordering food, maybe.
Yeah, like
Like at a McDonald's.
so the biggest problem for us to go to McDonald's, right? To
Mhm.
order food there.
Yeah.
Would you recommend like us asking them to repeat again or to speak more slowly, or you believe they really wouldn't care?
I think most people would be understanding, if I was back in America and somebody from Brazil started asking me questions, if they were speaking a little bit of English,
Mm-hmm.
I would at least know, but if all I heard was Portuguese, I might not even know that they were talking to me. Kind of depends. But, I would try to help somebody as much as I could.
Good to know that we can face Americans like you when
Yeah.
we travel.
I would just say, don't be intimidated. People may look grumpy or not happy.
And the questions that the students always ask me, do you care? Do you really mind about people who are trying to talk to you in English and they make like grammar mistakes or pronunciation mistakes?
Oh, no. I think it's, extremely impressive, for one, that they now know a second language. I know, what do we say, 3, 4 Portuguese words. So no, and even here, when people have talked English with me, it's a joy to help them and kind of give them the confidence, let them know, hey, you're doing a good job. Like, you really are. It's impressive, because it's not easy at all learning another language. So it impresses me, and I would say stick with it. You can
Give
only
it a
get
shot.
better. Yeah, give it a shot. I know a wonderful teacher. But I think it's fun too, and it's a learning experience for both of us, because if I can help them with some English, maybe they can help me with some Portuguese. Or any other
Vocês
language.
viram, pessoal? Ele não liga para quem comete erros na hora de conversar. Ele não tá nem aí. Ele só quer conversar, se comunicar. Então, para quem fala, né? Meu inglês não é bom, eu cometo muitos erros, eu tenho vergonha, não vou tentar. Não, eles não estão nem aí se você comete alguns erros ou não. Que acho que é essa a melhor parte para nós brasileiros quando a gente está aprendendo um outro idioma. Como ele mencionou, ele fala o quê? 4 palavras em português, né? Então, quem é ele para julgar o seu inglês, uma vez que você tá ali tentando se comunicar e que você já consegue falar alguma coisa. So, Dylan, we also, we were talking this week and we separated 2 expressions that he's going to teach us. Idiomatic expressions, let's say that. So, expressões que ele usa no dia a dia dele, que ele falou várias vezes, né, no nosso encontro ali. E aí eu falei, nossa, que legal, vou ensinar essas expressões para os alunos, porque é que nem quando a gente fala aqui, né, não dá bola para ele. Como assim não dá bola, né? Não é literal, não vou dar uma bola para ninguém, no sentido assim, não dá atenção, de não ligar para o que a pessoa tá falando. Então ele usou algumas expressões nessas semanas que a gente estava junto e eu pedi para ele explicar pra gente essas 2 expressões principalmente. So Dylan, what are the 2 expressions that you said this week that I asked you help to teach me, like the meaning and give me an example? So what is the first one that you picked?
So the first one was shooting the breeze.
Shooting the breeze. Amazing. And what does it mean?
So shooting the breeze would be if you were sitting outside on a chair, relaxing, just talking about nothing with your friend or family member. Me and my grandfather, we used to sit out on lawn chairs in the front yard and just shoot the breeze for hours.
Amazing. Seria o nosso jogar conversa fiada, né? Jogar conversa fora. Então, quando você tá ali sentado e você não tem nenhum propósito com aquela conversa, tá sentado só conversando. Então, seria o nosso jogar conversa fora, vamos dizer assim. Very good. And the other one?
Resting bitch face.
What does it mean?
So, if you see somebody and you think they look grumpy and then you start talking to them and they're actually cheerful and happy, you say, well, why was their face like that? And it's because they just have a resting bitch face.
Eu não sei traduzir essa expressão para o português, não sei se a gente tem alguma em português, mas seria mais quando a pessoa, sabe quando a pessoa está trabalhando ali e ela tá com aquela cara fechada, com aquela cara zangada e tá concentrada ali, não tá se preocupando com o redor, e quando você chega ela tá sorridente, conversando normal, e você fala, nossa, mas você parecia assim, né, tão, tão concentrado, tão bravo, achei que você tava bravo com alguma coisa, falou, não, é só uma expressão ali para... Assim, não é intencional, né? Uma expressão que não é intencional, mas você tá atuando ali como aquela persona ali, né? Que tá ali trabalhando concentrada. E às vezes você tá, né? Só nem tá prestando atenção no rosto que você tá fazendo. Então, resting bitch face seria mais para descrever. Não sei se a gente tem alguma em português. Ah, eu não sei, mas é aquela cara fechada, aquela cara de bravo. Não sei se daria ali, né? Não temos uma. We don't have a Portuguese expression for that.
Really?
Yeah, shoot the breeze, we do have it, so I translated, but for this one, resting bitch face, we don't have. But it was so nice because he was talking about his colleague doing that face, you know, and he told me that expression, and I said, oh, such a lovely expression to teach, so it was okay.
Because the contractors, they said, is he okay? You know, what is wrong with, like, is he upset? I said, no, he just has a resting bitch face. He just looks angry. But then if you go to talk to him, he'd be, oh, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. You know?
And he always, you know, like, seems upset.
Yeah.
Angry.
He gets in his zone and, you know, it's just his brain working, nothing else. It's very focused. So he doesn't worry about, I got to smile
I
while I'm
loved
working.
this expression. So, se vocês gostaram, já anota aí no caderninho e tentem fazer exemplos pessoais usando essas duas expressões. So, Dylan, I would like to thank you so much for being here with us today. It was a great pleasure, great honor. I think we got a very nice relationship. So now we call each other friends. So he's not the translator and the American anymore.
Yes.
And he promised me he intends to come back to Brazil soon, but as a tourist. So maybe with his girlfriend or people from his family, and we can enjoy like beaches, going to other places, not only Jag and Campinas, right?
Back and forth, yeah.
But thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you soon in Brazil. I hope you enjoy this experience a lot, your last week here, and keep in touch.
Oh, I will for sure. It's been an honor, a pleasure.
Obrigada, pessoal, pela participação de vocês. Vou deixar aqui todas as expressões e as palavrinhas que o Dylan ensinou pra gente hoje, inclusive das ferramentas. Então, se vocês tiverem mais dúvidas, né, e tiverem de repente, alguma ferramenta, eu sei aqui em português, mas gostaria de saber como em inglês, pode deixar aqui nos comentários e a gente responde para vocês também no direct, eu deixo aqui também. Queria agradecer desde já mais uma vez aos nossos patrocinadores que fazem esse canal estar no ar toda semana. Muito obrigado a Márcia do Max Pretend Club, Renata da Dona Belle e a Tati e ao Guilherme do Azul Cargo, que agora tem uma loja nova em Amparo. Então, se vocês precisarem desses serviços de logística da Azul, só contactar ali o pessoal. Deixa aqui também todos os arrobas deles, tá? Se vocês quiserem saber um pouquinho mais sobre o trabalho. Vejo vocês no próximo episódio. E não deixem de curtir esse canal, compartilhar com um amigo que também tá ali precisando melhorar o inglês. Espero que esse treino aqui de listening de hoje tenha ajudado muita gente, porque é muito gostoso ouvir um nativo falando. E espero que também tenha ajudado vocês aí se motivarem a estudar mais inglês